Hi everyone, it's Cree Rama, and I'm here today. I'm working on the Full Deck Challenge 2 with Shinoki, and I decided I'm going to just work on these as I want to work on them in between projects. It's just kind of a fun little thing to do. So these are the first cards that I'm doing, and I am going to do a separate playlist so that I can have all of these cards together. And this is kind of funny because the first cards I'm working on here, I ended up not liking the background, so I make two other cards. I wanted to do two cards, one for me and one to share. But then I go back to the pink one and it ends up actually being my favorite, I think. So to prepare these cards, what is not in the video, instead of tissue paper, I used paper towel just to give that extra texture, and I wanted to play around with some different things when I was making these cards. So I added the worn lipstick, and then I used the Distress Spray, that's the flamingo color, and then I just kind of added a little water sprinkled on there, and now I'm drying them. So I'm bringing in these tea-stained bingo cards for my backgrounds for the number part of the prompt. And then I have my little bird stamp that I love. And if you're going to use a stamp, just be sure that you're using the permanent ink so that it doesn't smear around if you add color or anything on top of it. So I'm linking in the video description. I did a tutorial making this color palette with my mica powders. I really love using these. So I'm using these to color in my bird. They're really great because you just add water to them and use the color, and then the water evaporates. And I'm just coming in with a couple different colors here, doing the beak, and that's pretty much all I'm doing because I am going to go around it and outline it. So here I'm just covering my cards with these tea-stained bingo sheets. And you can see these are completely different cards. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I do this a lot. I decided that I didn't like the pink, and then at the end of the day, I ended up loving the pink. To prepare these cards, I just put some tissue paper down. So that's what I did initially before I added anything else to the card. And here I have these little pieces of scraps that also had numbers on, so I thought why not use those at the top of my card. And now I'm going to use it's a Chinese marker. You could use a regular marker or a watercolor pencil, anything that you have to use. I'm just doing some outlining to make it pop a little bit more. Then I'm going to fussy cut these out. I'm not doing a great job, just kind of a rough fussy cut, I guess I would call it. And now I'm moving on to this little package of numbers that I have and just picking some out. I wanted it to kind of be like a tree branch, so I'm just picking out a couple of different options to pick from. Then I'm inking the edges here. I ink everything. And this is a new pad that I got, so it's pretty dark, but it's okay, I don't mind it. And now I'm just tearing off the very edges of these little number pieces so that it looks a little more like a tree branch. And now I'm just inking around my bird a little bit, and they are ready to glue down onto my cards. And I decided to use these little circles also, just for some extra interest, and I thought I could do my hole punch through the circle. So this hole punch, this tool that I'm using is, it's actually for leather, I believe. I kept breaking my hole punches, so I thought, well, this has to be nice and strong. So here's where I decide to go back to the bright pink cards. And so I'm using a different bird stamp here. This one is a Ranger's stamp. I believe it is a Dinah Wakely. And I'm just using exactly the same process here. I'm using some of the color from the palette that I made from my mica powders. So I'm inking the edges here, but I do go back in and go around it a little bit with my Chinese marker, and just to make it a little darker around the edges. And I also like the areas where the paper towel kind of folded it. It has some creases in it. But besides that, I'm doing exactly the same process as the first cards here. So I would love to hear which cards are your favorite. Leave me a comment and let me know if you like the first ones or the second ones that I did. And thank you so much for watching. And Shinoki Art, thank you so much for this fun challenge.